All right, we are live once again. I am excited about this new series we're kicking off with Seth Meyerson Law Firm with the man Seth himself and his team. So what I'd like to do is bring them on each one at a time, let them introduce themselves, know their roles and what they do at the company. So let's start off with Julie Watts. Julie, welcome to the show. Take it away.
How are you doing? It's so good to see you.
Doing good. How are you?
Thank you so much for having us on the show. My name is Julie Watts. I'm attorney Seth's intake manager. I am one of the first points of contact here at the firm. People will call in. They have, legal problems and questions. I get them organized. I get a case history. I collect all of their documents and get them scheduled to speak with Seth when it requires subject matter expertise or advice.
So you are the quarterback.
I am getting people onboarded for services here.
Excellent.
Very good. Denise, welcome
thank you, Mark. It's great to be here. We appreciate you doing this for us. I'm the client relations manager, and when Julie hands them over to me, once she gets them onboarded or ready to go to a paralegal, then she hands them over to me, and I become the client advocate through the process. I take care of the clients, communicate with them, give them updates on their cases, where we are, request information with them. And they know they can give me a call if they have any issues during the process, or if they just want to reach out and touch, for communication, they can call me, or I'll check in with them to make sure they get through the process correctly. Also, at the end, I close up the cases at the end. I give them a call after we finish up with their case and just get feedback, try to ask for, what's something we can improve on, and get that feedback from the client so we can deliver excellent customer service. That's our motto. That's what we do, and that's what we're known for. We make people feel like family, and that's my role. So thank you.
And you, but Julie and Denise, you both do a fantastic job. Seth's got a good team with the two of you. I'm not just saying that. I experienced it firsthand. So everybody will be in good hands. So with this series, we're going to bring on the man himself, Seth Meyerson. And this new series is going to be just Ask Seth. So we're going to take 5 questions on this episode. We're going to ask Seth, and he's going to answer them. So with no further ado, Seth, welcome to the show.
Hey.
Hello. Thanks, Mark. My name is Seth Meyerson. I'm looking forward to it. My company is called Meyerson Law. I'm very fortunate to work with Julie and Denise. And we handle probate and estate planning and estate litigation.
Excellent. Well, let's get this going. Like I said, it's just Ask Seth. So Seth, I'm fixing to put up a question. I'm going to read it to you, and Julie's going to be the phone intake that took this question. She's going to pass it to you, and when you answer it, then it's going to be passed to Denise, and she'd be able to wrap it up. But just kidding, just to start it off. And my spouse passed away. There's a mortgage on the property in my deceased husband's name, and the bank is threatening to default on the loan because I didn't tell them. I have 1 week. What should I do?
Okay. It's unlikely that you have a week. It takes a while to foreclose on a house.
Okay.
Usually foreclosures are on the first Tuesday of the month. You'd have lots of notice in the form of letters to the address. So you probably have more than a week, and that's fortunate because it's going to take longer than a week. What we need to do is get you in charge of your husband's estate. So how do we do that? It's a probate process that we will handle for you, and including once you're appointed, you'll have the ability to talk with the bank and transfer the house entirely to yourself.
Okay. And with that point being made, because when I've done some real estate investing, when they do the bank foreclosure, it is done at the first Tuesday or of the week at each courthouse step. So that does make sense with you saying that. Number 2, I just moved to the state of Georgia. Do I need to update my estate planning documents? Aren't the ones I have now still legal?
Yes, they probably are. They will probably perform as they were designed to in Georgia. Now, I would recommend that you get your estate documents reviewed when it's convenient, especially if it's been a while and things have changed. Of larger concern is your healthcare power of attorney and your financial power of attorney. So there's statutory forms that banks and doctors are used to looking at in Georgia. And if you give them something different from a different state, it may cause unnecessary delays. So you may need a new healthcare power of attorney and a new financial power of attorney, much more than a new estate plan.
Okay. I was going to ask this later, but after what you just said, I'll go ahead and ask now. So like Julie, you'll get a phone call, right? And someone will ask one of these questions, right? So you just kind of take down the question information, and is it passed to Denise then, or do you get with Seth and Denise comes in after Seth looks it over and lets you know what the next steps would be for the client?
Right. So I prepare a synopsis. I get a file started for them.
Okay.
And if it requires an interpretation or an application of the law, then I schedule them for an official consultation with Seth. If it's something basic, then it may be something that I can assist them with, document drafting. But most of the time, it does require an appointment with the attorney. And it's quite often, we're not just assisting them with that particular item. The conversation expands. And so Seth will address those other concerns that they usually do have.
Okay. And then Denise, it's passed on to you after Seth completes the job, correct?
After the consultation, we go through a little process of doing an engagement agreement so that the client is clear on exactly what we're doing for them. It's listed for them so they can read it and they can agree to it. Once they sign that, we invoice them. And once they pay, it's handed on to the paralegal. And by the way, I wanted to say this. We have some excellent, top-notch professional paralegals who work for us, too. I wanted to make sure they're really a part of our team. They do all the work. They do the hard work.
Gotcha.
And I wanted to make sure we brought them to the front too. Sure, but anyway, they get the case, and that's whenever I usually pick it up and start with contacting the client and just keeping them in touch.
Okay, this is good. This is good stuff because like somebody that just trying to decide, okay, I've got a call. What's the step? What's the process? What do I go through? So this is, you can actually see this is how the process works. You don't have to be intimidated or afraid to call. You'll be able to call Julie, answer. You'll know what the steps are. So let me go on to the next one.
Mark, can I add one more thing to that?
You sure can.
The system we use, the platform we use, is a computer system that is very confidential, and there's a client portal, and we're able to communicate we're able to communicate with the client through the portal in a very confidential manner. We're able to share documents with them. They can go into their portal and see where we are on our cases at any time they want to, and they can see what we're working on, where we are in the process. So they're always in tune with what's going on.
That's a very good point. So obviously I'm familiar with that because when I've done some real estate investing, I get a portal. And so you just post, hey, I need this document, that document. So the client can upload what you guys are needing, what Seth is needing for the next step of it. So they just upload it in that secure portal. And that's a good way of communicating. That's good. I didn't realize y'all had that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's a great tool. And the attorneys are able to, chime in on the notes and the comments and the task as well. And they know where the status of the case is at all times.
Gotcha. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. I was my father's power of attorney and I took care of everything. His children are saying they get an equal share of his money. Do I have to give them anything since my name is on the account as joint owner? That's a good question. I'm curious about this one.
Okay. So a power of attorney, once someone dies, their power of attorney is revoked. So the power of attorney doesn't have any bearing on this issue. Now, if you're a joint owner of an account, if the other owner dies, the account is yours. And there's no need for probate. And it's not part of the estate. And it's not subject to division by will or intestate law. So in this case, the asker gets the money.
Wow. Okay. So they'd have to agree to arm wrestle over it then. There's no legal aspects of it. They'd have to flip a coin, arm wrestle. They're going, I'm not giving you anything.
If the heirs wanted the money, they would have to attack the beneficiary designation in a superior court instead of a probate proceeding,
Okay.
which would be difficult, which would be a difficult thing to do. They would say that in order to win, they would need to say that the decedent didn't have capacity to execute a contract when the beneficiary designation was changed, or they would need to say they were unduly influenced, or they would need to prove in court fraud.
Okay. Wow. Can get pretty complicated.
So in general, the asker is safe. That those are a difficult process to go through, and unless there's a lot of money, it's not worth it. And I mean, it depends on what evidence is out there, whether a lawsuit would be ultimately effective.
Okay. All right. Number 4, I want to give someone a life estate. Can you please tell me if there is more than one way to do this?
Well,
And maybe if you don't mind, just say, what is a life estate for someone that may not understand what that is?
All right. So technically, a life estate is where you give someone the right to live in a property for the life of the person living there. So, and this is accomplished normally by deed. Now, if you give, there are other ways to accomplish the same mission, but there are not other ways to give a life estate. So you could set up a trust, and you could put a house in the trust, and there could be a trustee who manages the trust. And the trust could say that a person has a right to live in this house their whole life as long as they take care of it properly. And that's another way of creating the same or similar situation.
We actually, now that you mentioned that, we had a placement situation with the parents had left it to the brother, and he ended up needing 24-hour care. And then, of course, they were burning through money, and, it was the best interest of him and everybody to, but he had the right to live there, like you said, until he passed. And then it went to everybody, the way it was intended to. So that's interesting. All right.
So,
go ahead. Do you have something?
So you can do a lot of interesting things with the trust, including preserve the right to live in a place, and also if you're doing it soon enough, you can protect assets from Medicaid estate recovery and make sure that they stay in the family.
And not to get off, this could be for another show, but there's actually more than one type of trust, correct, that we can get into on another time.
Absolutely. There's a million types of trusts, but two basic kinds. In general, we think of trusts as either revocable, which means they can be changed while the person setting up the trust is alive, or irrevocable, where the terms of the trust are fixed.
Right. Okay. I have an offer to sell my parents' home, but was told I need to have a probate done first. Can I attend the closing? My agent is pushing me to sell, and we have a closing date for next Thursday.
Well, unfortunately, you're going to miss your closing date. It sounds like the house is in the deceased person's name. And so what we need to, the process is to place someone in charge of the estate. And that's called the probate process. How do we get a property that's in a deceased person's name back into a live person's name? And the way we do that is we appoint someone to be the administrator of the estate if there is no will, or the executor of an estate if there is a will. And then that person can transfer the house to a third-party buyer and would receive a check made out to the estate. They would deposit this check into an estate account, and then they could distribute the estate according to the law or the will.
Yeah. This, I want to sort of add to this, and why I think this is such an awesome thing that you guys are doing here and we're doing together, because as I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but everybody needs to call you guys and get a free consult. Just sit down and go, hey, I'm not committing to anything, but what do I need to do to get the ball rolling? Because we see far too many times that things show up in people's lives and they are so caught off guard and so unprepared. Even simple things like I had a discharge call the other day, and the brother was 41 years old and had a stroke. So you don't have to be old, but just getting those basic things in place, like the power of attorneys and all those things, because you guys deal with a lot of unraveling tangled messes to where it wouldn't have to be that complicated or stressed to the family members if it would just pre-plan and just come in and take the time. But this 5 questions has been perfect. We all, of course, talked beforehand, try to keep things 20 to 30 minutes. So that worked out perfectly. But I would like to ask, and we want to end up with you, Seth, but Julie and then Denise, if you have anything you want to add. If you don't, that's fine. But from each of your perspective with the roles that you play at the Seth Meyerson Law Firm, would you like to share or add anything for anybody that comes across and sees this episode?
I would. Oh,
we'll let you close it out.
I was going to add. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Seth. What's on your mind?
Well, I was going to say that that we really like solving problems. So if you're out there in the world and you've got a question, come ask us the question. We do this for a living. A lot of people haven't dealt with the probate of an estate or an estate plan, haven't thought about it very much. And we're used to dealing with people like that. We're not going to think you're silly or short-sighted. We'll praise you for coming in and for thinking about it. Many people don't. Many people leave quite a mess for their relatives, and we do a lot of cleanup. So if you are considering how to handle a situation that involves estate planning or handling an estate, give us a call, and we will guide you through the process and get you a good result.
Yeah. Well, Julie, since you're the intake of the calls, I think a lot of people may be intimidated to even call because they don't know what they're getting into. That it's okay to just let them know, just call. You're not going to be charged for talking to Julie, right?
Exactly.
There's no wrong question. You're not going to be sent a bill because you called and spoke with Julie to ask a question. So, with that said, just kind of share that, Julie. If the phone rings, someone calls, how you intake that.
Right. So I would say, please do not feel intimidated to call in. They're going to get a very warm welcome. I listen to what's going on. I provide feedback. I help them find the words that they're looking for because these are complex topics that they're calling in on. And I will listen to them, get them organized. They're not going to be made to feel inadequate or anything like that. We're going to get them prepared to get the information that they need. So I would love to speak to them, and please do not feel intimidated or silly for reaching out and asking those questions.
Yeah, because it's overwhelming when you find yourself going through something, and especially when it comes out of the blue, it's stressful, and some people don't even know where to turn, what to do, what to say. So I think it's important for everybody to know it's okay just to call. And of course, here's the website and the phone number to reach Julie for the intake. Denise, would you like to add anything?
I sure would. I tell you what, Julie's an awesome person to talk to on the phone. She's very polite and she listens very carefully to what you have to say. We get a lot of reviews. They're welcome to go to Google or anywhere to check our reviews. We have a lot of 5-star reviews, and good bit of them are because they've talked to Julie. So don't be afraid of Julie. She's awesome. But there is one thing, whenever something happens in your family, it's amazing the change in people. The people that you know and love so well can turn on you in a dime, in just a moment. And
Yeah.
we see a lot of that, and that's really heartbreaking. But at the same time, it's understandable in some cases as well. So we try to we try to just bring everybody into the family. It's a family. We're bringing them into our family, letting them know that they have someone that cares. And we constantly want them to feel that they're part of our family and that we're going to treat them that way. Again, just check out our reviews. We have awesome reviews, and what people say is true.
Would it be fair to say that with that said, with it being a lot of stress, that a lot of times families are arguing without having the facts?
Correct.
Right? So
correct. We have the facts.
Yeah, so maybe the conversations and the headbutting that's going on is not necessary. So instead of arguing and slinging opinions, call Julie.
Yep.
Set up a time to talk with Seth and find out, right? So,
that's right.
Seth, anything you want to add before we close out here?
No, thank you, Mark.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we will be doing, if everybody will just, if you come across this, just share it. I promise you that you know of someone, there's someone in your circle that needs an answer to a legal question. Of course, specializing in the senior world here, you are going to know somebody that's going through it, somebody that is going through it, or they're going to go through it. And the only thing that stops that is death. So this is a massive industry. It's a massive problem. It gets very complex and complicated. Going through it with my family, with my mom. So the point being, call the professionals, call the people that have the answers and take that load off. So one last time, here is the website. Here is the number. I can vouch for certain about this group here. Do a fantastic job. And I will see you guys with me on the next show. And Brenda, thank you. It was an awesome podcast and very informative. I appreciate you saying that. Please share it with your friends and colleagues. So until next time, Mark Little, CareQuest Solution, and just Ask Seth team. Later.
Right.